I want to start with a specific image. I want you to picture this. It's 1781.
Okay.
We usually think of George Washington as, the marble man, very stoic.
Right, unshakable.
But there are these reports of him on a dock, literally jumping for joy, waving his hat, and hugging a French general.
Yeah, it almost sounds like something out of a movie, doesn't it? But it's real.
It is. And that outburst is actually the key to our whole deep dive today.
Exactly. He wasn't just happy, he was profoundly relieved. He just found out the revolution wasn't going to go bankrupt.
Which brings us to what some historians call the Hispanic vanguard. We've been looking at archival records, logistical analyses.
And they all point to one thing. The American Revolution was saved, both financially and militarily, by Spain.
And we're not talking about a small token contribution here.
Not at all. We're talking about a massive trans-imperial effort that pulled the Continental Army back from the absolute brink.
The context here is just so important. By 1781, the American cause was, well, financially dead.
It was. Congress was printing this paper money, the Continentals.
With nothing to back them up, I was looking at the numbers, the currency lost 99.8% of its value.
I mean, that's not a recession. That is a total collapse.
Washington himself wrote they were at the end of our tether.
And you can see why. You have soldiers mutinying because they haven't been paid. Farmers refusing to sell food for worthless paper.
So when the French Admiral de Grasse arrives in the Caribbean to help, he basically hits a wall. He needs to get his fleet to Yorktown.
But he's broke. No hard currency.
So he turns to the Spanish, specifically to an envoy in Cuba, Francisco de Saavedra.
And the request is urgent. 500,000 silver pesos.
What's incredible to me is how fast it happened.
It's astounding. Saavedra goes to the citizens of Havana, and within 48 hours...
2 days.
2 days, they raise it all. About 3.5 tons of pure silver collected over a weekend.
And that's where you get that amazing detail about the ladies of Havana offering up their diamonds and jewelry.
Yeah, and while some historians debate that specific part, the result is crystal clear. That silver went north.
It paid the Continental troops, it stopped the mutinies.
And it funded the march to Yorktown. Historians call those coins the bottom dollars of American independence. Without them, the siege of Yorktown just doesn't happen.
But while that silver is funding Washington's march, there's a whole other war happening, a second front that, barely gets mentioned in textbooks.
Right, down on the Gulf Coast. This is Bernardo de Galvez's campaign.
He's the governor of Louisiana, and he is such a cinematic figure.
Absolutely. And his army. When you look at it, it was incredibly diverse. Troops from Mexico, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Venezuela.
Plus free black soldiers and indigenous allies. It sounds so modern.
And for the British, he was a strategic nightmare. By taking Baton Rouge, then Mobile, and finally Pensacola, he was tying up British resources.
Ships and soldiers that could have been crushing Washington.
Precisely. Which brings us to the siege of Pensacola, the famous Yo Solo moment.
This story is fantastic. The Spanish naval commanders, they're hesitating. They're afraid to enter the bay because of the British cannons.
They're stalled, paralyzed. So Galvez, he just gets fed up. He boards his own ship, the Galveztown.
And just sails it right into the bay, alone.
All by himself, under heavy fire. Then he sends a message back to the other commanders. It basically says, I alone, yo solo.
Which, of course, shamed the entire fleet into following him.
It worked. It broke the stalemate. They took Pensacola. But this all leads to your earlier point. Why is this not common knowledge?
One report I saw said 87% of key Latino history topics are glossed over in U.S. textbooks. Is that just the old black legend, the anti-Spanish propaganda?
That's a huge part of it, for sure. But it's also because Spain's help was clandestine. There was no formal treaty with the U.S. at first.
But the legacy is hiding in plain sight.
It really is. I mean, think about the U.S. dollar.
The Spanish milled dollar, the real de ocho.
It was the world's reserve currency. Our dollar, even the symbol, is modeled directly on it.
I always forget that old slang, 2 bits, comes from physically cutting those silver coins into 8 pieces.
Exactly. Our entire financial DNA has Spanish roots.
It just forces you to rethink the whole origin story. This wasn't just some Anglo-American event.
Not at all. It was a trans-imperial effort. The Spanish weren't just bystanders. They were co-architects of American freedom.
So I guess we want to leave you with this question. If the victory at Yorktown and the very currency in your pocket rest on these Hispanic foundations, how does that start to reshape your definition of what American really is?